Good evening, boys and girls. It's Friday Junior. You know what that means. It's match day. That means it's tactical squad, but it's tactical squad with a twist tonight. We have Josh and James in the house. Could it get any better than this? I don't think so.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. If you are watching the Arsenal women kind of start getting trounced by Barcelona right now in the Champions League and you're listening on replay, welcome. If you're out and about and listening on replay, welcome to the show and welcome back. Also, my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kev, Super Kevin Campbell.
Squaddies, welcome to the tactical J versus J edition. At ease.
Indeed. Welcome, everyone. Good evening to the usual suspects in the house. You know who you are. Very quick, we have a couple of housekeeping issues to brush up. Don't forget that Dennis Bergkamp is up. The signed and framed Arsenal shirt. Enter now. I will be giving a free ticket away at the end of the show. So be sure to stay tuned until the very end. First person to email me gets a free ticket and you could get Dennis, the Dutch master, on your wall. You can fall asleep to him every night and just think about how things used to be so great.
Used to be, yeah.
Watching the Arsenal. Kev, we also have one for you and the advisory board, not to be decided tonight, but after yesterday's fierce and fast yellow cards, the fastest in Highbury Squad history, Newman sent his defence in for himself once again and his friend Taib. The Highbury Squad prison, he says, I just want everyone to know that I won't be on tomorrow, that's tonight, because he accepts his punishment for calling Soph Mike Dean and saying that MK should knock some sense into Super Kev, even though Taib started it all and he made him say it. And then Soph got carried away and booked me because of him. I was just trying to entertain the squaddies, especially Virginia, who is always mean to me and got me. It is true, Kev Newman has been banned from Twitter. This is his case for you and the advisory board to consider. And I believe we will have a result.
I've already had a look at it, and it does not work. It doesn't fly. Do you know why it doesn't? He's saying that Taib made him do it. No chance.
Can I ask on behalf of a friend?
Why is Sue Barker in it, by the way?
Yeah. Can I ask as a friend of the advisory board, who is that twerking? It's for a friend, I'm asking.
I don't know.
I'm asking for a friend. It's not me. It's not me.
I'm having a listen by the looks of things.
Yeah, I was going to say, you look very impressed.
Yeah, I'm having a listen. Ooh, I'm giving it an ooh. I like that part, Newman, but no. Newman, Taib made you say it. No, come on.
Oh, my God. The Sue Barker thing threw me, to be honest. When I sent it to Kev, I'm like, I don't know why Sue Barker's in it. And like many people in chat. Yeah, absolutely. And MK, who was on the show last night, says it's wild. So the advisory board will take it into consideration and the result will be revealed at the end of Kevin Says show tomorrow night. So that is it for the initial housekeeping issues. We get on to the good stuff right now. We've got James and Josh, our tactical geniuses, both in the house on the same night. We've been waiting for this one. I've been excited about this one. We play Southampton Football Club and we're at home, thank God. So we're going to start with Josh and James's teams that they think MIKEL Arteta will pick. So, Josh, I'm going to start with you. Putting up your squad for Super Kev and everybody in the house. Let me get rid of the comment. Here we go. You've got Katie, Gabriel, White, Tomiyasu, Xhaka, Odegaard, partner. This does seem very Mikel Arteta. In fact, I'm wondering if James is actually mirror image yours, but we'll get to James in a minute. Go on.
Yeah,
Go on, Josh.
I mean, this is what I think Arteta's going to do. There were 2 decisions I think he made against Everton, which were incorrect. And I think he's going to make those same mistakes with the lineup again. One of them bringing Granit Xhaka in. I don't think he should have played 90 minutes for us. And that kind of showed, because you could see in the last 10 minutes, he just wasn't at the races. I'd much prefer playing the man that is in form. I don't see a reason why Sambi necessarily missed out on this against Everton. And I think when we go to my team, he's one of the players that will come in. I think Kieran Tierney as well will come back into the side. I know he started, played 60 minutes. I think just getting his fitness up ahead of December, I think that's probably why he'll come in as well. Yeah, those are what I think Mikel Arteta will do. They are very different to what I would do. But that's why one of us gets paid to sit on the bench for Arsenal, and I get to sit in my living room and podcast about it on a Thursday night.
I love that, Josh. Josh, I've got to say I love that one. That's a good one.
Excellent stuff. Right, JJ, this is your Mikel team. How different is it? You got Tierney, Gabriel.
It's only one. It's
only one,
instead of Smith
and that's
Rowe,
Martinelli. Yeah. So you guys are very close there, James. Again, the same. I'm assuming similar to Josh, thinking the same lines when it comes to the old gaffer.
Yeah. I mean, for me, if Smith Rowe's fit, it'll be Smith Rowe instead of Martinelli. The only reason, like I said to you earlier on WhatsApp, is what I read earlier. They said that Smith Rowe's still having the issues with his groin, whereas Martinelli is a hamstring, but he's not. He said he didn't give a percentage figure apparently on Martinelli, but he said Smith Rowe was 50-50. So the fact that he's given no number about Martinelli tends to make me sway more to it'll be him. But if it's Smith Rowe, then yeah, 100%. You got to go with Smith Rowe's been the player of the season. So I know everyone wants to see Martinelli, and of course I want to see Martinelli. I think Martinelli's brilliant. But if Smith Rowe's fit, he's going to be taken out. He's not going to play him up top, and he'll go back with Aubameyang.
Okay, let's get stuck into the juicy stuff and get your guys' take on your squads. This is what we all love and what we've been waiting for. Josh, I'm going to start with your lineup. Here we go, squaddies. Take a deep breath.
There we
Josh,
go.
it's over to you.
So there's a couple in there. I think Martinelli, it's an opportunity. I think what I saw against Everton, especially if Smith Rowe is available, then I'd be playing Martinelli up top. He's got that kind of drive and desire that we know Southampton are going to be difficult, similar like we saw against Everton. 2 banks of 4 and then 2 up top. That's what I imagine we're going to see against us. So I'd like Martinelli in there because he found pockets of space in behind, and if someone spotted him making that run, they were playing it into him as well. And one thing that I don't think is necessarily always remembered, but Martinelli in the air, I think aerially he can be a threat, certainly more than Aubameyang, probably more than Lacazette as well. Sambi in midfield over Granit Xhaka. That one, I think, speaks everything for it. Sambi's been absolutely superb. And I think if Thomas Partey is going to continue at Arsenal, then Sambi's probably going to be his partner, or should be his partner in my mind. And then the absolute wild card to wind probably everybody up. I still like what I've seen from Nuno Tavares. He reminds me of a proper Arsenal left back. Not necessarily that great defensively, but Gael Clichy, kind of not at the level of Ashley Cole, but he reminds me of that kind of left back. He is more dynamic than Kieran Tierney when it comes to the final third. I really like how Tavares cuts inside. He isn't always hit the byline cross. He can come centrally and plays that interplay really quite nicely, as well as being, he's got a bit more stature to him than Tierney. And you've seen Ramsdale, if he's struggling for an out ball and can't play it to someone's feet, he'll knock it to Tavares long. And I think we missed that against Everton, was having that out ball because Martinelli was sitting inside. If Smith Rowe is there, he's not going to be a target you're going to hit. But I do like having that wide, tall target for Ramsdale to hit if he can't find another option. And I think we lost that with Tierney being in the side. And with the way that Southampton will press us, I imagine they will press us hard, that sometimes we're going to have to knock a ball over the top, and you're going to need players that are big and strong to hold that ball up for us. And I think having Tavares, Partey, Sambi are going to be the players for us to do that. And that's why I've gone with that lineup.
Okay, we'll get stuck into the nuts and bolts in a sec. Kev, would you like me to put James's lineup immediately next, and then you can... Okay, yeah. All right, here we go. Please. So, gang, this is James Johnston's team for the game against the Saints. Let me get rid of that comment so you can see in its full glory. James, go ahead.
Sorry, someone said to give him a wave. So, yeah, basically, I'm not as optimistic as Josh is. I've also gone realistic as well as optimistic. So I believe Granit Xhaka is going to be in there. We've seen 2 managers die on this guy's sword. I think a third's potentially going to die on this guy's sword as well. I've brought Lokonga back in because for me, Partey is the same as Aubameyang was in the last game, and how I feel about him for this one. I think he needs to sit out. Just it's not going right for him. Just take him out. Don't throw him into the fire again. For me, I pick on merit, and I don't think Lokonga has done anything. To answer that question, just quick, sorry, to digress, I would 100% have Maitland-Niles in over Xhaka, but like I said, I've gone realistic as well as optimistic. But yeah, I've got Lokonga to go with Xhaka, literally for the point of view of I don't feel like he's deserved to be dropped. He's the 4th highest passer of the ball for us this season, and he's had the 5th highest for touches. I know he's 19 behind Partey for this. However, apart from Partey's ball to Martinelli for the Odegaard goal against Man United, Partey's not really done anything. He's not split the lines like we all want him to be and want him to do, whereas Lokonga has done that. If you remember the Newcastle game in the first half, Lokonga put a ball on a sixpence for Saka, and he controlled it and he fluffed it. He should have scored. It was an excellent ball. So that's more of what we need to do, because I want to see a reaction. Am I going to get one? We don't know, but I want to see a reaction. And it's balls like that, like you've said, Josh, as well, over the top that could potentially be vital, especially with, I know 40's not that old, but with a 40-year-old goalkeeper that's coming straight in, you got to be peppering this guy. Lacazette, for me, is the best out of what we have at the moment in terms of leading the line. I don't want Aubameyang back in there again. I don't think he's switched on. He's missed 6 big chances already this season. He's in a rut. Just take him away for me. Just take him away again for the moment. And what I would be telling Lacazette to do is do not go any deeper than Southampton's D. Because Odegaard, I don't want to sound like the old Ozil stands used to do back in the day, but Odegaard against Everton, when he has the ball, he's looking to the side. Lacazette's right next to him. What you can't, you need to be progressed. So I would say to Lacazette, just stay up there. You don't have to drop in and, put your back up and everything else and try all that. Just stay up there, because in the box, Lacazette's lethal. We've seen it. We've seen it before. This guy was our player of the season beforehand. He can score goals. So just keep him up there and do what we need to do.
Okay, so Kev, I'm going to switch it to you, but I do want to just mention a lot of people are saying you've had the balls to drop Thomas Partey, but I would like to go back to a tactical squad show probably 2.5 months ago where Mr. Josh also said that he would sell Thomas Partey because what's the point in having a Lamborghini in the garage with no wheels? So both of our tactical guys are on the same page when it comes to Thomas Partey. I just wanted to remind everybody that.
Oh, I've started him.
Because Partey was in Josh's team.
He has, but the point is that he's been talking about giving him a chance, but if this continues, what's the point in keeping a Lamborghini with no wheels that you can't drive? So I just wanted to bring that up.
In the team, so
so
I understand.
Let Kev be the ruthless one. Let Kev.
No, I get it. Of course, I get it. Of course, I get it. Thomas Partey has not been playing anywhere near how we can play. That is for real. So let's put that on the board straight away. He's not. But he's still our best midfielder.
All right, Kev. So what? So I'm trying.
Midfielder. My issue is
the
one beside him. I can't believe people are talking about. Oh, well, Xhaka's got. But no, why does Xhaka have to play?
Because manager loves him.
No, but that's not the point. Now it's your pick. It's not because the manager loves him. You've picked the manager's team, but we're talking about your team.
And this is James's team, and he has
and he's in there.
Xhaka.
He's been injured for how long?
But Josh's lineup does not have Xhaka.
And
this is what
fine.
I love.
But that's what I'm saying about James. He comes from nowhere. He plays a full game at Everton. Fair enough. You can pick MIKEL ARTETA's team, and he's in MIKEL ARTETA's team. No problem, because he's come from. But when it's your team, how does he get past Sambi, Maitland-Niles, and Partey? How?
Can I just jump in real quick before James answers? I'm surprised because when he WhatsApped me this morning, he said, Soph, I'm going to pick Sambi and Maitland-Niles, and then you changed it. So, okay, go. Answer Kev's question.
Yeah, no, it's like I said. I went realistic instead of optimistic because we all know that Granit Xhaka's going to play. So we all know he is.
Yeah, but this is your team, James.
Yeah.
This ain't the manager's team. This is
for me,
who would you pick?
Okay,
not that. Oh, he's going to play. We know that because the manager's team. It's your team.
Yeah, well, picking mine. Okay, if we ignore the picture, then it's Maitland-Niles.
Who would you pick? He would be your team.
Maitland-Niles and Lokonga, 100%.
Right, so
100%.
Stick him in, James. Stick him in. Don't mess about, because you know what? We could always chop it up.
Yeah. No. You've got to put Maitland-Niles in because same as what I said about Lokonga, I think he's been unfairly dropped. And, I've said before, I've been quite critical of what the guy can do on the ball. But I think against Leeds and against Watford, he's shown me a whole side of his game that I didn't even think was there. And he was very good. He was very good at recovering the ball as well.
Yes.
And the manager said, he wants to be entertaining football and energetic football. You get energy out of Maitland-Niles. He can run up, he can run that way, and he can run that way. So, and against Southampton, they're going to try and get on the ball and dominate the ball with Ward-Prowse and the likes of them. So
one thing you can guarantee, both your teams, Josh's team and your team, James. One thing you do know, Southampton are going to come and press us.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to come as a 4-4-2 and try and press us and trap us, similar to what Everton did. They're going to try and trap us. And if we are not good at moving that ball between the press, we are going to have problems with them.
Yeah. Do you remember the game last season, Kevin, though, with Gabriel and Che? Do you remember Che Adams with Gabriel?
Yes.
This is another thing for me. Gabriel the other night with Richarlison, I don't know what happened. Every other physical player this season, Gabriel's, with Ollie Watkins, a few seconds into the game, he turned, looked at him and went, give over. But he crumbled with Richarlison the other night. And he can't crumble against Che Adams this season. Well, we need a big game from him.
Do you know what, James? Maybe, remember the Brazilian national team?
Yeah.
Both went to the Olympics.
Maybe sometimes it's difficult to, maybe that's in his head. Do you know what I mean? That he plays not as hard or doesn't challenge him as hard. But Che Adams is going to test him because he likes the physical side.
So if they're going to press and they're going to play that way, surely Xhaka is not someone that can keep up with that, especially considering he's had one game since September 25th. Is that why, Josh, you haven't? Sorry, Kev, were you going to jump in there?
No. I'm saying right. You're bang on.
Oh, Granit Xhaka, no. I could see where Sambi didn't necessarily play in certain games, because I think we're trying to build him up to a certain level. Putting him in against Liverpool, putting him against City isn't necessarily the greatest thing for his development. Putting him in against an Everton, putting him in against Southampton, it's exactly the level you want Sambi at. It's the same as Maitland-Niles. You want Maitland-Niles against the Watfords, against Leeds. Someone's going to give him a lot of space, not necessarily the best quality in midfield, because then that builds him up to certain levels. Because I wouldn't touch Maitland-Niles in our midfield with a barge pole at the moment, unless we're talking Carling Cup games, because I don't think he's of the requisite quality. But Sambi has shown that he can do it for us. Thomas Partey hasn't shown it. The player that Thomas Partey should have been was Doucouré when he played against us only at the weekend. Doucouré is the player that we kind of thought Thomas Partey would be for us, especially in that second half, picking up the ball, driving it on midfield, and just being everywhere. As soon as Rafa said to Doucouré, right, 10 minutes to go, we're 1-0 down, off you go. I've let you loose. And he just completely destroyed us. And that's the kind of thing I think we were hoping Thomas Partey would be, and he hasn't realised that yet. It's probably still there in him, but injuries have caused him problems. I think he needs a run of games, to be honest, because when was the last time he had a proper run of games in the league and getting up to speed as well? I didn't drop him. Oh, I'm selling him in the summer if he's still shit.
No,
Kev.
you're selling him and you're dropping him. So
he's gone.
He's got. How's he going to get a run of games?
He's in my squad, Kev.
He's in his squad.
No, James. I'm saying James is dropping him, but people are dropping him. We know. Yeah. Look, as far as
I would drop him. I would drop him.
Yeah, Sophie, I know you would. I know you would drop him. You dropped a lot of them, right? But,
yes.
But here's my issue. Here's my issue. There are going to be bumps in the road and there's going to be loss of form and all of that thing. But your better players, typically, you play them. Sometimes you have to, like Oba, it's just not working for Oba. You could see that, his body language, everything. It's not working. For Thomas Partey, for instance, he's our better midfielder. He can play in there. He can play in there with his eyes closed when he's doing well. But when he's not doing so well, the team don't do well. It's a home game. I think we need to play him against the Southampton.
Yeah. The difference is, Kev, that he's trying, isn't he, compared to Aubameyang.
Sorry, I just love this comment. I drop Arteta.
That's what I mean. Sophia dropped a lot of them. Yeah. She'll have the 23s playing.
Listen, I said I was exchanging messages with Josh and James this morning and stuff, and we were talking about Mikel's team versus their teams and stuff. And I know James wanted to, can I tell him, James? Can I tell him?
Go for it.
Can I just say one more thing about the teams? There's one player.
You're super Kevin Campbell. You can say anything.
Well, there's one player who might blow up both teams, and that's Martinelli. Because if it is a hamstring, you don't play with hamstrings.
No,
you don't mess
Kev.
with hamstrings. No, you do not.
Okay. Quick question, Kev. If he's out and Smith Rowe's out, what are you doing?
This is leading to where I was going.
Are you putting Aubameyang left and Lacazette up top, or is Nicholas coming back in? Because Nicholas ain't getting nowhere.
Well, listen, this is the thing. I don't know whether Oba starts or Pepe gets a reprieve and right. Go on then, prove it, show me. I just don't know. You might even see, do you know what? You might even see Eddie.
Yeah.
I agree with the comments. I think Eddie is the player that would come in. He was one of the best players when he came on.
I thought he done pretty well when he came on. Missed the chance. Of course he did.
He set up Odegaard, who could have made it 2-1 at the time as well, with that ball across the face. Odegaard took it with his left, should have put it onto his right, and he's got a shot straight off at the keeper there. I thought Eddie surprised me, to be honest, with that performance out on the left. But
apparently he's in training, his attitude is right. And if his attitude in training is right, then maybe that's why he's getting in ahead of Pepe. And I know we can argue he's turned the contract down and he's not going to be at the club. But at the end of the day, guys, if you're showing me that you want to play and another player is showing me that he can't be bothered, who are you going to go with?
And like we talked about this with MK last night on this subject, and MIKEL Arteta has exactly said what you said, Kev. But can I just get a little bit ruthless on sports? Because sometimes, even if a player is difficult, even if a player isn't training well, when you're desperate and you need 3 points, I mean, sometimes you have people in your group or your team, they're not great, but you know they might be able to bring something to the table. Do you just say to yourself, you know what, I really, really need to win? And at the end of the day, it's about 3 points. Eddie's been given a few chances. Pepe's been given plenty of chances. And I would like to play a wild card tomorrow, which was the conversation James and I were having this morning, Super Kev. Do you know where I'm going with this?
I think I know where you're going. Go on.
Why not give Balogun another start?
Yeah.
What was in your coffee this morning? So, because that's what we discussed.
Josh wanted to serve me hot coffee this morning. There's no doubt about that.
You know what, Sophie? Dennis Bergkamp scored his first goal against Southampton. Thierry Henry scored his first goal against Southampton.
Oh, I did not know this stat.
Is Balogun going to be as good as either of them two? Probably not. But and at the moment as well, you know, I know I've got the long hair and people associate me with rock and metal, but I'm actually a huge hip hop fan. And we're playing like Eminem at the moment. If you've got one shot and one opportunity, are you going to capture it or let it slip? At the moment, that guy is getting one touch, turn, bang finishes against the kids. So if that's the kind of opportunity we're going to create, at the moment, he looks the best out of Aubameyang and Lacazette to do it. But no, he's not going to play Balogun.
Okay, so let me, to kind of give this somewhat some context, Kev and Josh as well. What do we have to lose? Because for me, this is the perfect game where Oba can just start on the bench again, come on and maybe be a hero and get a goal. Give him that confidence, give him a bit of a boost. What do we have to lose? I see plenty of other teams doing stuff like this every now and again. It's Southampton. We're at home. I think it's unfair that Balogun hasn't been given another chance since the Brentford game. Yes, he's probably going to go out on loan in January. Nothing's guaranteed on that front. The move to Sunderland has kind of gone quiet and fallen through. When we're so desperate to get goals and maybe Martinelli shouldn't be risked, I completely agree with you, Kev. Why not go for Balogun? And I do believe he's been training with the first team this week.
He's going with that first.
He could be training with the first team, etc. But I just think there's more experienced players at the top end of the pitch, and experience wins. I'm not saying he can't be on the bench. That's not what I'm saying. But to start, I just don't see it. He's to come in from nowhere and just come straight into start. He's not Xhaka. You know what I mean? He's not Xhaka. Xhaka's got that experience that the manager loves him, that he puts him straight in. But do you know why he put Xhaka in? I believe he put Xhaka in because he knows what's coming at Everton. He knew what was coming, the manager. He knew it's going to be a war of attrition. He knew that in the trenches of that midfield, it's going to get tough and it's going to be tight. He knew it. So he's going to try and stick with his tried and tested.
Also, Steve F. Talking about him training. Josh, why not Balogun?
I mean, the Brentford game, is that a good enough reason? I think.
Oh, come on. How many players have had a shit game this season? Please.
But that was a little bit different. That was a little bit different to having a bad game and just showing you're not necessarily ready.
But who did he have around him in that game, mate?
Saka played that game, didn't he? Around him. It was a decent level. Martinelli was there. I know that we didn't necessarily have a great team performance, but we're not at the point of desperation, I think, that would be putting in Balogun right now. It would scream of a manager that is scared for his job, bringing in something like that, a wild card. It was like Dean Smith dropping Tyrone Mings. You know, you drop your best defender because it's not working for you right now. And we saw what happened with Dean Smith. Ended up at Norwich. He didn't do too badly out of getting sacked. But for me, we've got options in. I know, say, Martinelli is 50-50. I'd still rather play Aubameyang, a bad Aubameyang, who doesn't necessarily look up for it, rather than Balogun. Or I may even say to Eddie, you know what? You came on, you showed a bit in build-up play. It's your turn. up front. Let's see what you can do against Southampton, because that is the kind of level that we know Nketiah can hit. He can score goals against these kind of sides. And if we build for him, and he's shown that he can kind of do the bit of interplay, which I think was missing hugely from his game. And one reason why I didn't think he had a future at Arsenal was because of his build-up. It's not there. I think it's an opportunity that we know Eddie is fit. He's obviously knocking on the door from it. And if he's training well, and, they've both got the same agent. So I think Eddie getting a starting lineup will know, and his agent will know. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be staying, but it's his chance to show, at the end of the year, he's going to be looking for a new club.
I mean, let's reward the player who doesn't want to stay at the club again.
Yeah, I'd happily reward the one that doesn't want to stay at the club, but will fight for the club right he's there.
So that is modern day football. It happens at a lot of clubs. It does. It happens at a lot of clubs. Players get into their last year of their contracts, not just Arsenal.
But we saw that didn't work with Sanchez and the Ox. We've seen this movie before. I just don't think. And yeah, he's a cheaper option and whatever. We're not even keeping him. I mean, and I understand that he came on. Everyone's acting like he came on and he was the best player against Everton.
Yeah, but his last.
Yeah,
you made a great point. He came on and did miracles against Everton. Please,
I can't really have this discussion when I put Lacazette up front for my team. He's in exactly the same position.
Yeah, exactly. The point of the matter is, modern day football, it's not like how it used to be, and this is the changing face of football, where it used to be if you don't sign a contract, you're out away from the first team. No, we're not blessed with enough quality and experience to be able to swap these guys.
Okay,
and I'd say,
go on, Josh.
Yeah, I was going to say contract length does not necessarily mean a player does or does not want to be at the club. We've seen that. How long has Harry Kane got on his Tottenham deal? And he doesn't want to fucking be there. It's 3 years left on his deal versus a guy with 6 months who's looking like he actually wants to do something for us.
Okay, and with his time. With Kenny's comment, that's not reward. That's using what you have with Nketiah. Then use Balogun. I'm not being funny. Why not? I mean, this is what I find just bizarre about football. Honestly, he's doing bits. He's doing bits, right? And I know, like, the way everyone's going to say, "Look,
23s, Sophie."
I know he is, Kev.
It's the 23s.
I think if we were a well-functioning side, I'd have no problem with Balogun coming in. If we're talking like the Invincibles,
if we were flying, Sophie, and we had an injury crisis, striker crisis, no problem, put him in. But we are not flying. We're saying
then why even have him on the bench on certain games? Like, why even have him on the bench?
Well, why not?
Then why not start him?
But no,
sub him at halftime if he's garbage.
No, but that could destroy him. Why would you do that when you've got more experienced players? The experience is why they're there. The experience is why
they're doing anything, Kevin. They're not doing anything.
They're still more experienced than a young kid.
They're not doing anything. They're not scoring goals, period.
Sophie,
and they haven't for a long time.
Sophie, I know, but they're still our most experienced players.
Okay, so I'm not playing football like FIFA. I know you guys think that. I'm just saying, like, why not give the guy a chance? Like, to me, you destroyed him by playing him against Brentford and then not giving him a chance again. It's like saying, you failed, son. Get back in the line.
No, it was you're not ready. That's what it was. You are not ready at this level. It's fair.
I will see him in a couple of days' time when we play Sunderland, isn't it? It's on the 21st. So we'll see him then, and that will be his opportunity to show again. Here's your chance at men's football. Nottingham Forest, another opportunity, which he should be looking at, and that's probably what he's aiming for. And I don't think Southampton, because we know they're a well-drilled side, and we're going to need a striker that is at least street smart in the men's game. Might not give us any reward, but I'd rather a street smart guy who's going to help us through it, because Southampton have got a big set of centre-backs as well. And we saw how Balogun got bullied by the Brentford centre-backs. To be a similar story against Southampton as well. And whilst there is a kind of, well, let's see what happens, let's stick him on the bench and see what the last 20 minutes, last 10 minutes. But I'm not starting the game with him personally. I'd rather still hold that olive branch out to Aubameyang or even Lacazette.
Sorry, this is what drives me nuts. For the last how many months, everyone keeps saying, JJ as well, jump in here, that the senior players are letting the side down. The senior players aren't performing. Aubameyang can't find the goal with a map and a compass. Lacazette can't find the goal with a GPS system. Okay. Emile Smith-Rowe is the one scoring this season. Saka needs to step up and score as well. They're young players. They're getting there. You know, you expect a little bit more from Thomas Partey. He shoots and the Hubble telescope is still looking for his ball. Okay. You've got Pepe who's on the bench, 72 million. He's just like, he's done now at Arsenal Football Club. I mean, it baffles me, and help me understand this. When we keep saying the senior players are letting us down, yet we still want to give these players a chance. And James, you said, play the team of tomorrow because the team of today isn't doing it. Help me understand.
Yeah, no, it's such a good, debate and argument, because for me, I'm with you to an extent. Like I said, the team of today isn't doing it, so you go for the team of tomorrow. And like Josh put Martinelli up front, which got no problem with whatsoever if that happens. I saw a lot of people saying about Balogun and men's football, sorry. He's been doing bits in the Football League Trophy against very tough teams at that level. That's not really, I know under 23s is under 23s, but he's been up against men that play, Football League, and he's been scoring in that. He did very, very well against Ipswich Town the other day. So there's that argument to it, but it's really difficult because, and Kevin and Josh said it, if Arteta was to start Balogun at the weekend and Balogun has a similar performance to what he had at Brentford, he's going to get slated because people will then go, why didn't you play Aubameyang? Why didn't you play Lacazette? And also,
that's not how he should be making his decisions. Kev says it all the time. A manager's going to make a decision not thinking what the fans are going to say or what bloggers are going to say or what we're going to say. That shouldn't be how he manages the club. And maybe I'm not saying he starts, but he maybe just give him a chance. Give him 25 minutes in the game. Give him something.
Oh, yeah. For me, by all means, he deserves more chances than what he's getting. But it's that fine line between the risk and the reward of it. And at the moment, he's being very, very risk averse because he is on thin ice. I know a lot of people don't think that pressure is there, but it 100% is. If we go into half-time Saturday and it's 0-0 or we're behind, that crowd is going to be hostile. Big time hostile. And someone's put the comments in there. It is a bit, for me, it's too much pressure on Balogun, but I think he might be able to handle it. Like I said, if we're creating one or two chances a game at the moment, from what I'm seeing, and okay, maybe it's because it's a lower level and he's got the time to turn and smack it like he is, but he's producing it compared to what I'm seeing from these senior players.
All right. I want to move on to another team selection for you guys, for Kev. And also, I do remember last season fans saying, I'd rather lose with our youth than lose with these senior players who aren't fighting for the badge. We move on because
makes no sense.
We move on.
They were so quiet in the last 3 games that we've lost playing youth.
I mean, the juxtaposition to all of this is quite insane, in my opinion. Right, you got James, who has Katie at left back, Super Kev, and then you have JJ, who has Katie at left back. This is Mikel, what Josh thinks Mikel's going to do. This is what Josh would do. And then this is what JJ would do. And this is what JJ thinks Mikel would do. So Josh is sticking with Kieran Tierney and Josh is going with Nuno. Josh, we'll start with you. Why Nuno in this game?
He's a better player. That's very simple. I just prefer him at the moment. From what I see, he is far more dynamic than Kieran Tierney, especially with Granit Xhaka in the side. You saw that we just reverted to type against Everton. This wasn't the same build-up that we've seen for a few games 10 games previous, while Xhaka's been missing, is that there was not always that dependent on, Xhaka gets the ball, right, where's Tierney? Straight down the wing, Tierney pings the ball into the middle. We got an assist out of it, which is great, but I think the overall system failed because of those two players in there, because we kind of fall back to an over-reliance on Kieran Tierney. And I don't think he came off after 60 minutes. I know Tavares is a lot more raw than Kieran Tierney as a left back, but I'd also say that he has attributes that makes him better than Tierney as well, that I think we need against these kind of sides, in terms of being that outlet for Aaron Ramsdale. That's the big one. You could see that we struggled, that we didn't have that opportunity to get the ball out, because Tierney isn't a kind of player that you'd knock a long ball in and hope he can, kind of keep it up or knock it on or do something with it. He's more of play the short ball into him, and Xhaka will then release him down the wing. And there's a bit more all-roundedness to Tavares that I prefer personally. And I don't care how many goals Tavares has cost this year. Have a look at Kieran Tierney's tracking back. That's all I'll say on him. He is not the messiah that everybody has made out Kieran Tierney to be in terms of the world's greatest left back since Ashley Cole.
I like it, Josh. I like it.
Yeah.
You're going there. Yeah.
He's not that level. He hasn't been that level for us. When he came in, he was amazing for us. But he declined under MIKEL Arteta. There's not many young players that have done that. But Kieran Tierney is one of them. And I loved Nuno from what I've seen. He plays on the front foot. If Gabriel's in behind him and you've got Sambi covering for him, rather than Xhaka, who's got no legs, then I think it's fine in terms of what we see from there. And there's people saying, we're playing too defensively, a football all on the back foot. Well, Tavares is always going to be on the front foot. And the rest of the team, it's that kind of injection of pace that I think we're missing if we play KT.
Josh, I'm going to give you the floor before Kev jumps in. You pick KT. Josh
James,
sorry, James. It seems like Josh maybe wants to put KT in the garage sale with along with Thomas Partey. What's your take?
Get one free.
Yeah. I totally disagree that he's a better player than Kieran Tierney is. But the one thing I do agree with is that Tavares at the moment is a 90-minute player. And like you've said, how it will go, if you're trying to create qualitative or quantitative overloads, running in behind space and everything else and exploiting it with multiple players, a bit like the goal that Saka scored against Newcastle with Tavares like that, then that's the player you want. But for me, I think that this game could come down to who's got the better delivery. And for me, that's Kieran Tierney. And that was evident with the goal that was scored by Odegaard the other night. He's still got better end product than Nuno Tavares has in that position for me. The reason as well that Kieran Tierney might not be the 90-minute player is because of his tendency to not wrap up. You keep your muscles cold. They're not going to, he's done a very good video today where he's wearing a jacket. I wish he'd probably wear the jacket a bit more than just the shirt and the shorts around the training ground in winter and on the pitch in winter. But, that's how it is. But I totally disagree. He's the better player, 100%. Tierney's just coming back, and Tierney will save us a lot more than people think he will. He'll come back, trust me.
I think one of the things I mentioned a few days ago, I can't remember if you were on the show, James, but it's the crossing of Tierney where it's more aerial, and the Odegaard chance that he finished, it seemed to be an anomaly, to be honest with you. Whereas Nuno's crosses seem to go to feet, which benefits the team better because we have no aerial threat in the box. Kev, who are you starting against Southampton? And are you team Josh or team James on this one?
I think Kieran Tierney's going to start. Obviously, he brought him back into the side against Everton. Obviously, picked out Odegaard for the goal. But he's just coming back. And this is what we've got to realise. He's probably protected him a little bit for the last half an hour, take him off and bring Tavares on to bring a bit more oomph down that side. So I understand what Josh is actually trying to say is Tavares is a lot more unpredictable in what he does, because he doesn't just stick to the left. When he drives inside, that is the worst thing for the opposition to try and control, because he's so quick and powerful. He just starts to motor and you cannot live with him. That's the issue. But I still think Kieran Tierney is a better defender than Tavares. And I think Kieran Tierney will start this game. I truly believe he will start this game. Just because he is the more experienced left back.
He's now got as many assists this season as Nuno Tavares. Now he's got 1 assist, same as Tavares. So
I truly believe Tierney's the number 1 left back. Okay, Tavares has done a great job, but for me, I still think Tierney will start this game against Southampton.
It's incredible. Once again, I totally agree with someone who said how fickle fans are. They laud Nuno. And then when he makes a mistake against Liverpool, they say he's a young player. You know, he's got to learn. And then they kill him a little bit and then they laud him. I mean, at some point, you've got to take the handbrake off and let these young players play. You know, we're talking about Project Youth, but at the same time, I get it. Kieran Tierney, when he's fit, he should probably start. But before he got injured, he wasn't that great. Something people forget completely. And I think it's actually really cool that we have this argument or this debate and this conversation finally, that we've got this competitiveness in this position, because it's kind of been a sexy position at Arsenal Football Club over the years, Kev.
Also, Soph, can Kieran Tierney stay fit? That's the big issue. If we put everything on the table, Kieran Tierney is more experienced than Tavares, 100%. He's the number 1 left back. But if he can't stay fit, then it's there for Tavares. 100% is there for him. And yeah, he is young, and yeah, he makes mistakes, but that's what young players are going to do. They're going to make mistakes.
Kev, I honestly thought when he went into the boards, when he went off the pitch and into the boards at Everton, I was like, oh gosh, here we go again. I thought, you know, he's a little bit, you know, like a boxer. You know, they talk about the glass chin. To me, it seems like Tierney has a glass chin, whereas Nuno's built like a brick house, you know. But I don't know. We'll see. I just wanted to just double check on your teams where you had. So you got Josh's lineup here. You've got Smith Rowe starting and Saka starting.
That might be another difficult one, isn't it? Smith Rowe, because if he's struggling with a groin,
James doesn't have Smith Rowe starting.
Yeah, James doesn't have Smith Rowe starting.
That's purely on the fitness reason. If Smith Rowe's fit, then it's him over Martinelli, because you can't drop a player of the season. He's been a player of the season. You can't drop him.
But James, the problem is Martinelli might not be there because he's his hamstring. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, then another one that I'll throw in.
Go on.
Can you play Nuno and Tierney together?
Oh, look
there
at
you
that.
go. There it is, Mike.
Boom.
Mind reader.
Yep.
So many people have been saying that in chat.
Move Nuno forward. I think he's good enough.
Yeah, he is more like he looks like a converted winger.
It's a lot different. We don't know. Listen, they might play him, and they're incredible. But normally, very rarely you see 2 left backs playing on the same side. Very rarely. But
Kev, when Harry Redknapp moved Gareth Bale up into a more advanced role, was that the case? Did they have? They didn't have the 2 lefties, did they? He just moved him forward.
Yeah, they moved him forward, and it blew up. It worked. So, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know until we see it. We don't know. It might work. It might not. And if it doesn't work, you know what's going to come then, don't you?
This from Zhang. Yes, play more players out of position.
Exactly. Why not? It's on the left. Why not play Pepe there? Or it's for us. It's always a difficult one. It really is always a difficult one. But we have to move and shape. We're not playing as well as we could. It's always a must-win game for us.
Josh, this is where someone like I would say, "Oh, look at him putting square pegs in round holes again," right? After the game, I'm just holding my hands up. But I ask you the question: is this where people want to see a little bit more of Arteta's tactical brain and him managing not only the squad but the opponent? What's your take on it?
I mean, there's certainly, I think, one thing with MIKEL Arteta that I've certainly seen is he wants to always ensure that people know he's the reason behind a success right now, because he is trying to establish a CV for himself. He knows Arsenal's not going to be his only job. And every continental manager has got a philosophy. You need it to work on the continent. We've seen it with, I think Gary Neville said it a couple of weeks ago, that he was shocked when people in press conferences in Spain were saying, "So what's your philosophy?" And he's like, just basically see what the other people do and then work that way. And I think that's what Arteta's trying to do, is even if he's not here if the run goes on for any longer, perhaps we have to make a decision. And he goes, he's going to need another job and needs that kind of body of work. I think the thing that frustrates us is because Arteta always has an answer. It's not like Arsene Wenger, who had a bit more of that street smart and would say, sometimes I didn't say anything. I let the players do it. Always very mystical about what he's actually done. Arteta, to me, right now, has an answer to every question. And I think that's what's frustrating people or winding people up, is that he's always got an answer. And in the way that he always brings it across is quite potentially arrogant. And there was that talk of potentially arrogant. But, a lot of good players, a lot of good managers are arrogant. What I'd kind of like to see from him is a little bit more in kind of tactically. I think he couldn't deal with Benitez. And I've seen other managers this season not be able to deal with Rafa. I saw Potter exactly the same at Brighton. Didn't know how to deal with Rafa. So I'm almost a little bit giving him a benefit of the doubt on that game. But there were obvious things that you could see. Why hasn't he made these decisions? And I think he went into that game thinking Xhaka's getting 60 minutes, Tierney's getting 60 minutes, and they're both coming off. But the game didn't go the way he wanted it to. He was thinking too much about the bigger picture. Whereas we're looking at it kind of game by game. This is what we want to do. And yeah, I kind of go for it. So
no, I was going to say it's interesting because in a way, to be fair, he's damned if he does and he's damned if he doesn't, right? And we live in the bubble.
That's management for you.
And that is, we live in the bubble as Arsenal fans, which is why it was really interesting the other night having an outsider perspective on our club. Right, we've got just a few minutes here. Closing tactical arguments from the boys. James, I'm going to start with you. You stand behind your team. You've shown us what Mikel's going to do. You've got Southampton. I want your closing and your prediction as well.
Just go out there and win the game, please. Please. That's it. Winning heals most things. So just win the bloody game.
And that is your closing argument. Win the bloody game.
Just win the bloody game.
Very Al Davies from the Raiders. Just win, baby. Just win. What's your prediction?
Sadly, I think it's going to be 1-1.
Oh, boy. After all that.
I know. I know. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys.
Go out and win, but also draw.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Okay, Josh, what about you? Your closing and your prediction.
Yeah, so I think if Arteta does the right thing and has watched the Highbury squad this evening and sees my team and plays it based on everybody being fit and available, then also I'd like a job, Arteta, please. I'm great at all of this nonsense. But yeah, I would be having this team going out. We know what Southampton are going to do in terms of they're going to press us. So the number one thing is beat that press. Bounce around it. We know they've got Adam Armstrong. Who's the other Armstrong they've got as well? Ex-Newcastle player.
Not Louis.
Adam Armstrong. Not Louis Armstrong. It's Adam Armstrong. I was thinking of Stuart, who's their other Armstrong? But yeah, they've got those two strikers up there. They're going to cause problems for us. But I think Tomiyasu's shown that he's still got it. Ben White's looks a little bit shaky, but I don't think he's going to be targeted by someone with any aerial presence. That's going to be Gabriel versus Che Adams. And I think there's the opportunity just to watch out. Southampton can be a bit dirty. So Saka, draw those fouls all day long. Everybody get in the referee's ear. Get them booked quick. Because the one issue from Everton, they should have been down to 10 men. If we were stronger as a team, we were united. That's one of the things that hurts with Granit Xhaka being on the pitch and not surrounding the referee, because that's what he's great at. That's what he's great at, as being a cheerleader and sticking up for his other players. And I think with the young players, they've got that camaraderie. They will do that. Smith Rowe will run over if his mate is hurt, and vice versa. That's what I want to see from them. And our home form, all the doom and gloom we've been talking about, our home form isn't half bad. We'd be third in the league, I think I'm right in saying, with our home form right now. So I'd go with a 3-0 win. Goals are back. Goals are back, baby.
All right, a 3-0 win, and a good closing argument there from Josh. James, do you want to rebuttal in any way, or are you good with your just win, baby, 1-1?
What's all this? What's going on here? He's had his chance.
No.
I'd love it. 56 minutes.
I'd love it to be 3-0. I'd love it.
All right, Super Kev. We're going to be back tomorrow night, of course, with Kevin Says. And by the way, we didn't get a chance to talk about this stuff, but I guess we will tomorrow. We'll get into it a little bit. The new line and all this jazz. And by the way, when Darren Arsenal posted this on Twitter, when he saw this, it reminded him of this. And Kev will remember. I remember being on the phone, making those phone calls, Kev, having to do all the promos and stuff with the boys back in the day. Please don't forget to go see our friend No Lagunas, AFCFeesTees.com. You get 20% off being a Gooner. He's got some wicked merch. Go do that. And of course, Ruth Beckhart as well. If you still haven't got your Crimbo cards, and you're still looking for a little bit of gifts for your friends and your family, she's got some fantastic stuff. Kev, you close the show. It's over to you. I will see you all tomorrow night. Well done, boys.
Thanks, hostess with the mostest, Sophie. Brilliant. Now, squaddies, this is what I want you to do. Which J do you prefer? Team. Put it. James is 1. Josh is number 2. Just put the number 1 or 2, which team you're going to go with. We know both of them want Arsenal to win, although James, after that big chat, you put it as a draw. So that might influence people. But you know what, guys? I love you for coming on. Brilliant show. And squaddies, all the very best. And remember, Kev says this tomorrow. Load of thanks to all the guys. And you know what, squaddies? Good evening, good day, and good evening, and good night. If you're ready, come and join me over at Lee Judges so we can chop it up some more. But you know what, squaddies? I love you. And at ease, squaddies.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Whoopsies.